About the Chord Buddy, not only is it so easy to use, it's also an instant party. And let me prove that to you for a second. You like big and rich music? You want to come on the road with us? You want to be in a band? If you got a Chord Buddy and you can push the red button and the blue button, you can play Save a Horse, Ride a Cowboy. Check this out. Well, I walk into the room, passing out $100 bills, and it kills and it thrills like the horns on my Silverado grill. Red button, I buy the bar a double round of Crown. Everybody is getting down in this town. Ain't never gonna be the same. Red button, and I saddle up my horse. Blue button, now I ride into the city. Red button, make a lot of noise. Blue button, cause the girls they are so pretty. Riding up and down Broadway on my old stud Leroy, and the girls say, save a horse, ride a cowboy. Everybody say, save a horse, ride a cowboy. Woo! Party time with the Chord Buddy. Get yourself a Chord Buddy and have some fun, people. It's time.
That's a pretty good way to start the day.
Yeah, hey, and I tell you, before we get started, or we're started, but I want to tell a little history on John Rich and how I became to know John Rich, and that I think is pretty interesting. So as everyone watching knows, John Rich is a country music star with the super group Big and Rich. And that was one of their big hits there, Save a Horse, Ride a Cowboy. Well, you know, I was a big winner on the Shark Tank show. And well, John Rich won the President Donald Trump's Apprentice show the same year, I think. If it wasn't the same year, it was the next year.
I remember The Apprentice, yeah.
Yeah. Uh-huh. So John Rich won that. Okay, so here's where it gets real interesting. Mark Burnett owns both shows, and he also owns Survivor. I think, Scott, if Mark Burnett stays in this TV game of, I think he may just end up being all right. You know, I think he may find a winner here.
Be able to pay the rent.
Yeah, he'll eventually find a winner somewhere. But anyway, so. They're sitting at a table discussing things.
Yeah. And
Mark Burnett, who I've never met and probably never will, although I understand he's a fine Christian man and made that movie that about Jesus that he put his wife in. It ended up being a good movie. But anyway, he says, listen, there was a country music guy won The Apprentice, and the producer for The Apprentice said, yeah, that was John Rich. And he said, well, if I remember right, one of the biggest products ever on Shark Tank was a good old boy from Alabama with a guitar teaching product. And Clay Newbell, who was my producer on there, said, yeah, that's Travis Perry from Dothan. And he said, well, why don't we try to get those two together? And maybe they can do something, or at the very least, we'll have John come on the when they revisit, what
right, yeah, the follow-ups on Shark Tank.
Follow-up, yeah. So now, for those who don't know John Rich, he is very direct. Here's one thing: you will never have a question of where you stand with John Rich. You will know. You will not be in the dark. I promise you. And so they sent John Rich a email or a phone call. I don't know which one, but asking him to check out the Chord Buddy, that they may want to do something with it. Well, John Rich returned the message, I wouldn't endorse that piece of so-and-so for any amount of money in the world. And I mean, that's what he said. And so then the main man, the owner of all that, sent out a personal email. And he says, listen, as a personal favor to me, John, will you just please allow him to send you one and take a look at it? And then after physically looking at it and understanding what it is and what it does, if you still feel the same way, I'll never, it'll be over. So okay. So I got an email from Clay Newbell to send John Rich a Chord Buddy. I sent him a Chord Buddy. No lie, I am sitting at my desk and the phone rings, and it is John Rich. Just about 3 or 4 days after I'd sent it. And he said, "Is Travis around?" I said, "Is he?" He said, "Travis John Rich from Nashville." I said, "Oh my God." Hey, what's going on? He said, "Well," he said, "listen, I got this Chord Buddy that I was asked to take a look at." And he said, "I wanted to personally call you and tell you I think it's the best teaching product for guitar I've ever seen in the world will ever know."
That's great. What a great endorsement, but such a turnaround.
Well, and as we said before, I've said many times, the people that don't like it, the haters, it's just because they haven't taken the time to really understand what it does. They just see a picture of it, or they see they don't know what it is. Is it a gimmick? Is it a toy? Is it a game? But once they take the 5 minutes to say, "Oh wow, this is a real legitimate teaching system," like John did the second time around, then he jumped on board and he says, "How can I work with you?" And his word was to target bomb this all over the world. He said every household deserves to have one of these in it. And John worked as an endorser for us, for a paid endorser for 3 years. Now get this, after that, I was up at his house for a Christmas party. And I said, "Hey, I got a check for you." He said, "Nope, I don't want any more money from you. You can continue to use my likeness, my name." He said, "I will keep you on my website." He says, "But I don't need any more money from you."
Wow. What a man.
Yeah, he's a good guy. He's a good guy.
Travis, that's great. Hey, we got a comment from it actually came on YouTube. N-Dub. He says, "I bought one and can't quite get it attached to the guitar." I was kind of wondering if we might just have you show how to attach the Chord Buddy onto a guitar.
Happy to. And but before I do that, I do want to say this. I already addressed this twice this morning.
Okay.
Twice this morning, people saying, "Hey, I got it and it's too small for my guitar." Both of them. And one of them sent pictures. Well, immediately upon seeing the picture, guess what I determined, Scott?
Wrong type of guitar for the Chord Buddy they had?
Or either the wrong Chord Buddy for the guitar they have. Yeah. And so that may be the issue with this person. But anyway, I'm still going to demonstrate how to do it. But 9 out of 10 times when I get a comment that, "Hey, my Chord Buddy is not fitting on my guitar," it's because they have a classical guitar, which is a wider neck, Spanish classical style. It's got 2 slits in the headstock. In fact, let me grab one.
Yeah, and those lower strings, they're clearly nylon as opposed to steel.
Okay, so this is a classical. Okay, if it has 2 slits in the headstock and the bottom 3 strings are nylon, like see-through nylon, then you have to get the classical Chord Buddy or it will not fit. It will be too small. And here's a mistake people make. A lot of people think classical means classic, like the guitar behind me here. It means classic.
Yeah,
it does not. It does not. In fact, there is no quote classic guitar. There is not a guitar called classic. So anyway, that's in 9 out of 10 times the situation is that they bought the original Chord Buddy meant for the Dreadnought, the standard acoustic. I also had people say, "Well, it's just a standard acoustic guitar." No, a classical is not a standard acoustic guitar. It's a classical. That's what it's called. In fact, it's not even called an acoustic. That's called an acoustic. This is called a classical. So anyway, having said that, that's not to say that this person still may not be having issues.
Yeah.
legitimate issues. So I'm going to take it off.
Yeah, while you take that off, I'm just going to say we got a comment, George Ferguson, and he says, best ever product. Always wanted to play guitar, but I'm still all thumbs. But now I'm strumming, and it sounds okay. So that's
well, and there's
cool.
a one key word there that he said is strumming. Strumming is the first thing you need to learn to do with Chord Buddy. And it's strumming all the strings, learning your strum patterns. I do occasionally have someone that says, hey, I'm doing some picking, some single note picking, and there's an issue. Well, it's called Chord Buddy. It's not called Single Note Buddy. It's intended to be strummed, because really you don't need to be single note picking with Chord Buddy. We want to learn our strumming, remove the Chord Buddy, and then start single note picking.
Right.
All right, so I've got this off, and I wish I had some better way to do it. But anyway, you want to unscrew this thumb screw and let that shoulder be able to move back and forth. All right, come over from the top side, and now we've got it on, but it is loosey-goosey. It is loose. See, it's way too loose. So we want to tighten it up just a hair, so that it won't fall off. Now, this won't be as tight as it needs to be. Now, the first thing we need to do, Scott, is to press down on this blue button and make sure that we're hitting barely behind the third fret. The third fret, that's these metal things. This is the fret right here. So count the third one, 1, 2, 3, hitting behind it on the headstock side and right in the middle. I mean, directly in the middle. All right. Then hold the bass with your thumb and index finger and tighten it. If you don't hold it, sometimes it can slant. It can twist itself. So hold it exactly straight. Now it's tight. And the last thing we want to check is that we have this angle going up. See how that angle is going up? It's not parallel. If it's parallel, I'm going to push it down. If it's parallel, the strings are going to buzz because it doesn't have room for the strings to vibrate. So we want to make sure it's got this upward angle. Now, if we have that, I don't even have to guess. I know without a doubt, if I press this, it's going to give a perfect chord. So do it just like I said. Now, here's another thing. Understand, you may have it on perfect, but your pressure may not be enough. And let me demonstrate that with the D chord. Hear how that's perfect, sounds perfect? Well, if I'm not pressing hard enough, here's what it'll sound like. See that? Now, the difference between not playing and playing, hear that? Was a minute difference of pressure. So that's what muscle memory does. As you start doing this, and you say, well, one time it sounds like this, one time it sounds like that, your brain will learn the correct amount of pressure. And it doesn't matter if you're using Chord Buddy or if you're playing without Chord Buddy. See, not playing, playing, not playing, playing. You have to learn the correct amount of pressure in order for it to play cleanly. Okay. So I hope that helped you, sir, on YouTube. If not, listen, my email is travis@chordbuddy.com. I'll be happy to help you offline. Okay.
And we got a couple more comments. We got Roger here. He asked a question: does the standard work on an electric? That's a great question.
Yep, get that a lot. And the answer is yes, as long as it is a standard scale length guitar. If it's a mini guitar, it won't. But if you measure from the first fret to the third fret, so if you measure from the first fret to the third fret, if it measures 4 inches, then it will work. If it measures 3.5 inches, which means it's a short scale guitar, it will not work.
Yeah.
Now,
and I have behind me there, let me see if I can put up here. Maybe you can see a little bit better. So that's an Epiphone guitar back there. And, the Chord Buddy works great on that one.
Yeah.
I also have Fender, Stratocaster, and the Chord Buddy works great on that. You know, Travis, I even have a Steinberger headless guitar in the other room, and the Chord Buddy works on that one as well. Doesn't
Really,
even have a head.
I wondered
Doesn't
about.
even have headstock.
I've wondered about that, or if you had even tried it. Now, when you said Fender, the only electric that I have noticed that's a little compromised, and it's only because on the side of the neck, the real estate from the bottom E string and the top E string, the amount of real wood that's left to the outside is smaller than the rest of the guitars. I don't know why, but the Fender Bullet, it's their cheaper model guitar. Sometimes it's a little compromised on that, but otherwise I have had no issues with any other electrics.
Yeah, well, so that's a great question, because I know a lot of people, and we've seen people submit videos of them using their electric guitar and Chord Buddy.
Yeah.
And so that is a great way to go. One of the things that's nice about playing an electric guitar is that the strings are lighter. So it doesn't take as much energy to push them and hold them down like you were demonstrating earlier. All right. Hey, and I'll just remind everybody, we are talking with Travis, and he's there in his office at the factory of Chord Buddy in Dothan, Alabama. And Chord Buddy is made in the USA. Shipped right.
If you hear some talking sometimes, that was my plant manager, Jake. They don't know that what we're doing sometimes in here. They think I'm in here watching TV or something. And he said that we're getting a new shipment of 10,000 parts delivered Monday. So.
Oh, wow. Tony Mafio says, hello, I love my Chord Buddy. We hear that a lot too. There is one song I really want to play that my mom used to sing, and she sang that song before she passed. And can she convert Honky Tonk Girl to use with Chord Buddy? Honky Tonk Girl. So that's a great question.
Yeah, let me look that up. Let me give this app a little shout out here. I have no endorsement to it, but right in the middle of my screen, there, that G with, it looks like horns on it.
Yeah.
I don't know what that's about.
I have seen that before.
But I use this app every day. And I know I have the paid version because I think it allows me to do a couple of things that the free one doesn't. But even if the paid is only like $12 to buy it for lifetime or something. But let me look it up, because here's the importance of this. If you're doing a song, and I'm going to look up this Honky Tonk Girl, if it's in the key of A, well, obviously Chord Buddy won't do the key of A. So you have to transpose it from the key of A to the key of G, which Chord Buddy is in. Honky Tonk Girl. Is that what it was, Scott? You're muted, or you went away.
Oh, there we go. Yeah. I had to clear my throat, and I didn't want to share that with everyone.
By Loretta Lynn, I'm taking it, right? Is it Honky Tonk Girl by Loretta Lynn?
That might be the one.
I would think it probably would.
Yeah.
Let's see what key that is in. Okay, so this is standard, or this is what typically happens. So we do have it. Let's see if it's going to. There we go.
There it is.
But it is in the key of F.
Oh, well, that's pretty good. That's pretty close. Because, transposing that.
But still, we can't do that key. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to transpose it. So I'm going to go up a step. So F, you got A, B, C, D, E, F, G. So that means that you're one step below it. I'm going to go up a key. A step. And then we are in the key of G. But it does have a chord that Chord Buddy can't do. It's got an A7 in it.
Yeah.
Let's see if it pick up. Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's got an A7. So let me think real quick. What if we do key of C, let's see, we got a key of G, and that's a 2 major. If we're in the key of C, let me see what the key of C, because that would make D the second. Let me see what that would do to us if we went to the key of C. Keep our fingers crossed, and it worked. It worked. All right. So if we go to the key of C, that's going to show a D7, but that doesn't matter.
Yeah, because the D will work. Yeah.
Yeah, a D and a D7 are transposable. So in this situation, this doesn't happen very often. I mean, in fact, rarely. But we were able to play a song that is in the key of C with the key of G Chord Buddy.
Right.
Because of the structure of the chords. They're using a chord that is the 2 of the 5, which I understand makes no sense to nobody but me and you, probably, Scott. But anyway, so here's the thing: download that app, and then transpose it from the key of G to the key of C. And the reason you know it'll be in the key of C is that would be the first chord on the left of the page right there. See that? That way you know it's in the key of C.
Yeah.
Because it's always the first chord on the left.
And so there's only the 3 chords, and so that's perfect. So Tony, you can download that app and look up the song and then transpose it to the key of C, and then you will have the 3 chords that you need, and you'll be able to play that song. So that's wonderful. And Jackie also asked a question. And
no
no way to play an F chord. Yeah.
No. Hey, and let me
that's
tell you,
one.
Jackie, we and by the way, the F chord, the app is called I think if you just look up Guitar Tab, Guitar Tab, or either Tabs, Tabs, it'll come up, but it'll be that orange G with the little horns on the top. And Tony, you're very welcome. Back to the F. The F is one of the hardest chords you'll learn as a beginner. So any song that has F in it, if you're using ChordBuddy, typically, although the song we just did for Tony worked for ChordBuddy, that's a rarity. Typically, the F is going to be in the key of C. It'll be your 4 chord, and the second chord you'd make in the key of C. We tried for probably a couple to 3 months to find some way to make an F chord on the ChordBuddy. The reason we can't is because a C and an F are very similar, but the F is moved down a set of strings. So it was impossible to design that to work with the ChordBuddy. So it's just not. It's just, and I just had to accept the fact that, hey, we're not going to be able to do an F with the ChordBuddy. But, as a teacher, as a guitar teacher, I did not even attempt to teach my kids the F chord, or my students the F chord, till they had mastered G, C, D, E minor, maybe an A minor, and all of that. So,
well, thank you, Tony. That's very kind. And so let's take a look. Yeah. So that transposing the songs. So that's a good way to go. And so try to so G, so the ChordBuddy, G, C, D, and E minor are those the chords.
That's the 4 chords that the ChordBuddy makes.
Yeah.
Is correct.
Yeah. Yeah. And I just want to thank Erica T for following us here on Amazon Live. Yeah. So that's the one thing about ChordBuddy is you say it is the world's best guitar learning system, because as you said at the top when we got started, I know we're winding down here, Travis, is that when John Rich first saw it, he saw it as a just a cheat, but that it was just playing chords and not teaching people how how to actually play guitar. But it's really designed to make the chording easy with one hand while you learn the different strumming patterns.
100.
And
Yeah, 100%. You know, if it were not that way, and I, you know, many times I compare it to training wheels for a bicycle. If it did not remove piece by piece and you learn to make the chords, it would be the same thing as if you put training wheels on your bicycle and never took them off.
mm-hmm.
You would be able to ride a bicycle, but you would not be able to learn to ride a bicycle with and have your balance and all. So
Yeah.
you would never truly be able to ride on your own.
And that's the
you never
difference.
remove the training wheels.
Yeah. If now we have Chord Buddy and we also have the guitar packages here in the carousel. But if you get Chord Buddy, if you look up Chord Buddy here on Amazon, you might see similar products, because Amazon is really good about helping us find similar products. And you might find a product that's got more chords or more buttons that straps onto the neck. But in that case, that's not a learning system, because you can never get away from using that.
Right.
Whereas the Chord Buddy, and there's videos, there's a whole video series. And when we finish up, Travis, today, I'm gonna go out with that video again that shows people how you start to remove the tabs using your fingers on the strings. Because you start with the buttons, you learn the rhythm, and then you start removing the little tabs. So you start removing that D chord and putting your fingers on the strings and getting used to that feel. And ideally, you've built up some finger strength, and you'll start building some calluses as well.
Yep, you said it exactly.
Well, Travis, this has been a lot of fun. Every Thursday, it's just fun, and remind people we're here every Thursday, and live on Amazon. And we just great questions today. Thank you to everybody that's been watching,
and to the people that tune in every week. Thank you, bless you for that. But you will hear us regurgitate some of the same things over and over. And that's because there's new people tuning in all the time that has never seen these two pretty faces right here. and that has never seen this odd contraption that goes on the neck of a guitar, and they don't understand it. So that's why you'll hear us every week say some of the same things, because every week our audience is growing. And they have to understand that it is a teaching system, not a tuning system.
Yeah, and it's just been it's a lot of fun when we get these questions like different songs, and we've been able to help out. So those questions are great. And as we go out, Travis, because I know you've got a busy day as always there in
we got a podcast that we've got to do right after this, so we head upstairs to the studio and do a podcast.
Yep. And then I encourage people to tune into the podcast as well. But there's the Chord Buddy, the Chord Buddy combo. There is a lot of songbooks that go with this as well, hundreds of songs. And so and if you can't find them, always Travis, why don't you? I'll have you share your email again, because if there's songs that people would like to hear, we can send an email, and on a Thursday, we can show you how, if possible, we'll show you how to play that song. And when we say we, I mean Travis.
Yeah, I've got a couple of songs that I need to do anyway, and so this is a good place to do it, because we feed into Facebook as well, and it will always live there. So Travis, Travis, at ChordBuddy, ChordBuddy.com. Hey, in leaving, I wanted to sneeze for you. Now, in leaving, this week, pollen's horrible down here. This is Easter weekend. So a time to be with family, a time to make those pretty Easter pictures that we see on Facebook of families dressing up and going to church and having their picture made afterward, or Easter egg hunt. So I just want to say, enjoy your weekend with your family, and we'll see you here next Thursday at 9:00.
All right. Well, thanks, Travis. We'll go out with this how to remove the Chord Buddy D tab, the first one that you remove as you're going through the learning system. Travis, we will see you next week.
Sounds good.
Well, all right, guys, this is a point in the system of Chord Buddy where, as my daddy would say, the rubber hits the road. Up to this point, we've been focusing on right-hand rhythm, timing, different strum patterns. We've learned 4 different strum patterns. We've been focusing on learning some songs, getting some finger dexterity going. Now it is the time to start removing these tabs and start making the chords on your own. This is an exciting time, and I'm glad that we're here. All right, so what we're going to do first is how do we remove the D tab? All right, the best way to do it, and I'm going to keep this at an angle for you to see it best. You may want to lay it down in your lap, but I'm going to keep it up. What you want to do, you want to press the blue one down so you get it out of the way, okay? Now, this is the way to take it off with it on the guitar. From the factory, these things are in there pretty tight, so you have to pull it pretty hard, okay? So, but you're not going to break it, so don't worry about that. So push the blue one down to get it out of the way. Lift up slightly on the red tab and give it a pull. And there you are. Now it's out. So let's go over how to make the D chord. So you want to refer back to your book, and there is a diagram there of how to make the D chord. There's a hump right here. Okay, this hump is here for a reason. That is so that you can get your index finger under the hump and it falls perfectly onto the G string. Okay, that gives you enough room to get to your others. See that right there? So, to make the D chord first, put your index finger on the hump and then just slide it off and it will fall directly on to the G string. Then place your middle finger on the 2nd fret, 1st string, your index finger, your ring finger on the 3rd fret, 2nd string, and then you strum from 4 down. That is your D chord.